Hey YouTube, welcome. I want to do a review on some expandable batons, mainly the brands of Asp, Monadnock and Bonowi. Asp is very well known to most people, used by many law enforcement agencies, security, and even probably the military. And of course, Monadnock also is widely used probably a couple years back and more so presently. These are the two main brands, as we know, as far as in the U.S. market for expandable batons. This one is a 21-inch electroless Asp baton, friction baton, and then this one is a auto lock Monadnock with the safety grip right here, and then the safety tip. This is an older version. It has the button in the back. Actually, they still have the button in the back, but this is an older baton. This is actually 18-inch, and this Asp is a 21-inch. And the one that is not seen very often that I would like to talk about more is the Bonowi baton. This one is a German baton, and I was only able to purchase it through one website on the internet, and this is a 16-inch. It has a cam lock device for its expanding and retracting. It works very similar to a Monadnock. It has a button in the back, and you can open it with pulling the tip over here, which is not as big as the Monadnock with the safety tip, so you got to really reach in there with your fingers and grab it and pull it. You got to also flick it, and of course to close it is very easy. You just press the button on the back right here, and that will close the baton very easily. So this one has very much similarities with the Monadnock as far as the button and their cam lock feature, and then the Monadnock has the auto lock feature, which works on bearings. But here's the thing I found out about Monadnock. Through the years that I've bought many of them, I probably had 4 or 5 of them, and one of the latest things I found out about Monadnock is that this one has, let me expand it real quick. This one has expands into two additional pieces here, and what I found is this front part here, the front piece of the baton here, the second part to the, I guess the second extension to the expansion of the baton. This part here sometimes does not lock, and what will happen is you'll flick it, and when you flip the baton vertically, this will collapse back in, and I have to take apart the rear end here, pull it out, and kind of re-put it in again and tighten it, and then this will be it will function normal for a little bit of time, but it's really unpredictable as to when it will malfunction again. And I sent it into Monadnock asking them to fix it. They never really, they sent me the baton back that I sent them, and I did the function check, and the baton never really got fixed. It still had that problem. So I don't know if they don't know what the problem is, or maybe it's just a glitch that is going to happen here or there. So that's the only one thing I found with Monadnock that's been an issue. Of course, if you're expanding the baton just to do a hit on somebody as far as like a strike, it won't matter, because you know it will do fine. But if you were to do a jab on somebody with a baton as like a deterrent or get somebody back, well, this part will collapse, and you can figure out what will happen there is that your jab might not be as effective, or that person might get that much closer to you as you're trying to deter him away or her away. And then of course the asp baton, this one is a friction lock. The goods about this baton is that compared to the Monadnock is a lot lighter, so carrying it is easier. It's also smaller relative to length. Sorry for the shaky camera because I'm holding the camera as I'm filming this. But so if you look at the length is a little shorter, so probably easier to conceal. And this one, aside from the smaller, it actually, I don't know if it matters, I guess not, but it seems like it has a much better appeal when you look at it, at least electroless. And also because this one is electroless, I believe that it's resistant to water. So the downside to asp, of course, is that because it's friction lock and it doesn't have any button to retract the baton, you have to squat down and knock the baton on a very hard ground to collapse it, and sometimes even then it's very hard to collapse. Trying to do it on the second floor of your house on a wood floor, it's almost impossible, if not breaking your floor. So that's the downside of asp. And also one thing I realized about both asp and Monadnock is that they have a wiggle or a kind of a jingling noise to their batons, even when they're collapsed. Like this one has one too. It's not very solid as it should be, where you feel like a little rattle, and the rattling sometimes could be pretty noisy too. So that's the downside of this. So when you're carrying this and you're running or jumping around, people might know you're carrying something because this thing rattles. Now, here's the thing that this German baton, not very well known, maybe to a few that is well known to, but most people aren't aware of this brand of baton. It's a German baton, as I stated, and this one's only a 16-inch. But the good thing about this one is the quality of it seems a lot better, and even when you handle it, it seems a lot more sturdier, and the composition of the baton, as far as, like, you know, how it's put together, it feels more solid and there's less rattling. In fact, I can carry this all day in my pocket and have it roll around in my pocket, and I would not have any noise in comparison to the asp. So that's one of the greatest things I found that this one does in compared to the asp and the Monadnock. This one doesn't have a safety tip. It does have a dull tip. It doesn't have I guess, like a Monadnock safety tip. It has more of just a rounded tip. You can still jab with it if you wanted to, to use it as a defensive method. And of course, because this is a 16 inches, a lot shorter, so your distance that you can cover with swinging this is relatively short in comparison if you get an 18 or 21 inch. But I like this baton because it's very easy to carry. Besides carrying a firearm or a knife, this is a good alternative, or even pepper spray. This is a good intermediate level tool to deal with any problems. And I've used this baton not on anybody yet, but I've whacked it like on a training bag and stuff, and it feels really solid. Let me get it out. Let me expand it. Okay, so that's how long it is. Like I say, it's only 16 inch. So if you look at the outer, it has a black coat finish. And one more thing is that, like with the Monadnock, when you touch this part or this part of the baton on the Monadnock, you have a lot of oil in your hand, and this one doesn't. Even with the same kind of a collapsing mechanism, for some reason you don't have to oil this, and it flows very smooth. There's no problem with collapsing it nor expanding it. A good flick and this baton will come right out. Pull on the tip a little bit, it will come out, no worries there. Handle, the handle is very nice. The grip is it has a very good tactile to it. So I would say is somewhere in between ASP and the Monadnock Super Grip. Now, if you want to talk about grips, the Monadnock still has a better grip as far as really grasping it, having good tight feel when you grab it, and getting a good grip on it. This one does too, but I guess because the texture of the handle is not so coarse as this one. This one is very coarse. It's basically like garden hose, which is exactly what they wanted, so you can have a good grasp. This one is good. It's a little more tactile than the ASP, or in fact maybe even just similar to it, but this one you can see it has more coarse and for tactile grip for your hand. So I never had a problem controlling this baton as far as it slipping in and out of my hands, or even slipping away from me as I'm flicking it. And because the mechanism for the expansion of the baton, the cam lock system that they use, is very smooth, so when you flick it, there's actually no problems with getting the baton out, and even pulling on it, there's no problem. And that's how easy it is to collapse it. As you saw, I just collapsed it over a soft surface, and it didn't take much. The one thing that the manufacturer does say is that, like with the Monadnock and ASPs, you can take the back off and adjust tension and all that stuff to the baton. This one, they say do not do anything to that. Don't take this off and try to adjust any tension to it. It's already preset to its peak performance level, and they say that if you do take it off, it might be very hard to put back, but if you send it into them and let them know what happened, they will put it back together for you and send it back to you with no problems. I never taken it off because I just don't want to take that risk to take it apart and possibly not having my baton for weeks on end, or maybe months, depending how long it takes for them to return it to me. Now, the price of these batons are different, but this one is drastically different. The price is drastically higher than this one, the Monadnock and the ASP. So the ASP, this one you're running about well, at least I paid about $90 something. This one I paid a little over $100, about $120. Now here comes the surprising thing, is that for this 16-inch baton, okay, not even a 21-inch or 24-inch or definitely not a 26-inch, I paid close to $180 for this baton. Now, the question is, okay, is it worth it? Absolutely. This baton is worth every dollar, every cent, every dollar. I would definitely buy another one in a heartbeat. Now, at the same time, I'm not, this is in no way means to bash ASP or Monadnock, but I'm just doing an objective review, at least from my standpoint, of what I see in the three batons and the quality of it. And being that I've possessed so many batons and I carried it for duty before, there are definitely certain pros and cons I see with each one. This one, as of right now, the only con I can tell you about this baton is the price. But at the same time, it's a very high quality baton, so I hate to say the price is a con, because you're really paying for what you're getting, and this baton really gives you a lot. And they're relatively hard to get, just because the only site I found was one site that would sell it. But I did not regret buying it. Initially, I didn't know what to think about this baton, because I was like, well, you know, I never had one. I don't know what to think. I don't want to spend $200 and have it to come out to be not what I expected, and even I can return it and stuff. I just don't want to go through the hassle. But I'm glad I took that chance, and I did buy this baton, because this is currently my favorite baton. Anytime I need to carry it, I carry a baton. I carry this one. It's just the one I resort to. Now, as far as the other batons, I think they're great. I don't see it as a baton that's so bad that I would not ever carry it. I mean, Asp are great. Monadnock's still a great baton. The only thing is, like with Asp, it's comparable size to the Bonowi. It's only maybe about, let's see, maybe about an inch longer. If the Asp did not rattle, it will be comparable. In fact, maybe just as good. But one thing it needs to do is, I know Asp now has lever lock, so that makes it comparable to this one. But this one is a friction lock, so this one alone does not compare to this one. It's just because it doesn't have the mechanism that this one has. But this one rattles. I don't know, is it because it's friction lock? Maybe you should check out the lever lock and see how that goes. But this one is too big, so that's the con of carrying this one. Very hard to conceal. You put it in your pocket, it will definitely stick out. So that's my review for this, for these batons, and please let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm open to hear it, and if you like this video, please press like, and thank you for watching.